Yo, if you thought the story ended with Diddy getting sentenced, you haven't been paying attention. Because what's happening right now inside Fort Dix federal prison is wild. And I mean wild. CBS News just dropped exclusive documents that show exactly what Diddy's been doing behind bars. And trust me, this man is already working the system. We're talking prestigious prison jobs that most inmates would kill for. We're talking drug treatment programs that could cut a year off his sentence. We're talking about him getting caught breaking prison rules within days of arriving. And we're talking about 50 Cent pushing harder than ever to expose everything in Season 2 of The Reckoning. This isn't just about hip-hop beef anymore. This is about a man who built an empire on control, trying to maintain that control even behind bars. This is about what happens when the untouchable finally gets touched. And this is about what comes next, because Season 2 is looking more likely every single day. So buckle up. We're going inside Fort Dix Federal Prison. We're breaking down these exclusive documents, and we're connecting the dots on why 50 Cent's campaign for Season 2 just got a whole lot more interesting. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's set the stage real quick. On October 30th, Sean Diddy Combs was transferred to Fort Dix Federal Prison in New Jersey. He's serving more than 4 years on prostitution-related charges. CBS News got exclusive access to his prison intake photo and internal documents, and what they revealed is absolutely crazy. Now, Fort Dix isn't some maximum security hellhole. It's a low-security federal prison with over 4,100 inmates. But make no mistake, this is still prison. This is still a place where Diddy has to follow rules, ask permission, and live by someone else's schedule for the first time in decades. Think about that for a second. This is a man who had people running to get him things. A man who threw parties where celebrities begged for invitations. A man who controlled entire careers with a phone call. And now? Now he's inmate number whatever, wearing prison khakis and working in a chapel library. The contrast is insane. From private jets to asking permission to make a phone call. From penthouse suites to a prison cell. From Bad Boy Records to being somebody's assistant. That's the reality of where Diddy is right now. But here's where it gets interesting. Because even in prison, even stripped of his power and his money and his influence, Diddy is still trying to play the game. And these CBS News documents show exactly how. So CBS News revealed that Diddy landed one of the most coveted jobs in the entire prison. He's working as a chaplain's assistant. And before you think that's just some random job assignment, let me explain why this is actually a big deal. A former prison commissioner told CBS News that being a chaplain's assistant is considered prestigious within the prison system. It's one of the jobs inmates actually want. Why? Because you get to work in a private office, often with air conditioning. You're maintaining the religious library, cleaning the chaplain's office, doing some record keeping. Sounds simple, right? But here's the real benefit. Chaplains bring in food for religious services, and that food can be shared with their assistant. In a place where the food is terrible and options are limited, that matters a lot. Plus, and this is huge, the chapel is one of the only places in federal prison where inmates can congregate freely. It's a social hub, and the chaplain's assistant gets to be right in the middle of that. They can prepare call-out lists, which tell officers which inmates are allowed to leave their cells for programs or appointments. That's power. That's influence, even in prison. So how did Diddy get this job so quickly? Most inmates don't land premium assignments right away. You usually gotta put in time, build trust, prove yourself. But Diddy shows up, and within days, he's got one of the best gigs in the facility. Now, his publicist Judah Engelmeyer told CBS News that Diddy works in the chapel library, where he describes the environment as warm, respectful, and rewarding. Okay, cool. But that doesn't answer the question of how he got there so fast. And this is what 50 Cent's been saying all along, that Diddy operates differently, that rules don't apply to him the same way, that even when he's supposed to be just another inmate, he's still getting special treatment. A corrections officer who worked in federal prisons for over 20 years said the chapel assistant role allows inmates to add their connections or friends to those call-out lists. So even behind bars, Diddy could potentially be building alliances, creating networks, maintaining some level of control. It's wild when you think about it. The man can't help himself. He gets locked up and immediately starts positioning himself for advantage. That's not rehabilitation, that's strategy. And when you look at Diddy's religious background, it gets even more interesting. He was raised Catholic, but has said he doesn't identify with any specific denomination. He's referenced God in recent years. Back in 2017, he posted on social media, "God puts us all through things for a reason." He was even seen reading the Bible in the courtroom during his trial. So is this chapel job genuine spiritual seeking, or is it calculated positioning? Knowing Diddy's history, knowing everything we've learned about how he operates, I think we all know the answer. But yo, here's where things get really interesting. Because less than a week after arriving at Fort Dix, Diddy was already in trouble, already breaking the rules, already showing that disregard for the rules that's defined his entire life. On November 3rd, just 4 days after being transferred, Diddy made a 3-person call. Now, that might not sound like a big deal to you, but in federal prison, that's a serious violation. The Bureau of Prisons strictly prohibits inmates from adding multiple people to a call. You can only talk to people on pre-approved call lists. That's a security rule that exists for a reason. So what happened? According to the documents CBS News obtained, Diddy called an unnamed woman. They talked about arranging visitors for the weekend. And then, this is wild, Diddy suggested they bring cash. Specifically, he said bring 200 singles, 200 $1 bills. Now, prison regulations bar visitors from bringing in currency except for coins for the vending machines. So what was Diddy planning to do with 200 single-dollar bills? The documents don't say, but come on, we can all connect the dots. Prison black market, bribes, whatever it wasn't for the vending machines. After they finished talking about visitation, the woman added an unknown male to the call. That's the violation right there. That's the 3-person call. Diddy later explained that he was speaking with his attorney, and she added the head of legal communications to work on a statement to be sent to the New York Times. He said they were working on issuing a statement, not talking about blogs. But here's the thing, multi-person calls are banned in prisons because of serious concerns. Inmates could use them to coordinate criminal activity, drug smuggling, gang violence, witness intimidation. The prisons can't take that risk. Now, could Diddy have been using the call for innocent purposes? Sure. He claims it was protected under attorney-client privilege. His publicist said there was nothing improper about it. But the prison doesn't care about intentions. They care about rules. And Diddy broke them. What's his defense? He told officials that no one had informed him about the phone call regulations. He said he never received the prison admission and orientation handbook. Basically, I didn't know, is his excuse. But a source close to the investigation told CBS News, this is a serious offense that shows a disregard for the rules. That word, disregard. That's what this whole story is about, isn't it? Diddy's disregard for rules. His belief that they don't apply to him. The recommended punishment? 90 days of lost phone privileges. 90 days of lost commissary privileges. And here's the kicker. The ruling was filed on November 4th, Diddy's 56th birthday. Happy birthday, you just lost your phone and commissary access for 3 months. Now, it's unclear if that penalty has actually been implemented yet, but the fact that he got caught breaking rules within 4 days of arriving tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. He walked into federal prison and immediately started trying to work around the system. And this is exactly the kind of behavior that 50 Cent wants exposed in Season 2, because it shows a pattern. It shows that even when facing consequences, even when supposedly humbled, Diddy can't help but try to maintain control by any means necessary. Now here's where things get really strategic, because CBS News also revealed that Diddy has been assigned to something called the Residential Drug Abuse Treatment Program. The acronym is RDAP. And this is the Bureau of Prisons' most intensive drug treatment program. But here's what makes this interesting. Correctional officials told CBS News that inmates need to qualify for this program. And one source said most inmates don't get placed in an RDAP at the start of their sentence. You usually gotta wait. You gotta earn it. But Diddy? He's in from day one. And there's a very specific reason why this program matters. Are you ready for this? Participating in RDAP can reduce your sentence by up to 1 year. 1 full year off your time just for completing the program. So Diddy's sitting on a 4-year sentence, and he's already enrolled in a program that could make it a 3-year sentence. That's not rehabilitation, that's strategy. That's working the system from the inside. His publicist released a statement saying, Mr. Combs is an active participant in the residential drug abuse program and has taken his rehabilitation process seriously from the start. He is fully engaged in his work, focused on growth, and committed to positive change. Okay, cool. But let's talk about why he's in this program in the first place. Because during his trial, Diddy's own attorneys referred to his drug use as the primary driver of his infamous freak-offs. Those are their words, not mine. They made drug abuse central to his defense. In a letter to the judge before sentencing, Diddy blamed drugs and excess for his actions. He said he was now sober for the first time in 25 years. 25 years. Let that sink in. This man admitted he's been using drugs for a quarter century. He added that he had been trying his best to deal with my drug abuse and anger issues. And then he wrote something that's honestly pretty dark. He said, "Prison will change you or kill you. I choose to live." Now, is that genuine reflection? Is that real accountability? Or is that a man saying whatever he needs to say to reduce his sentence and maintain some level of sympathy? His lawyers had written to the judge specifically recommending that Diddy be allowed to address drug abuse issues and to maximize family visitation and rehabilitative efforts. They knew the RDAP program existed, they knew it could cut time off his sentence, and they positioned him perfectly to get into it immediately. That's not luck. That's calculated legal strategy. And it worked. So now Diddy's in federal prison, working a prestigious chapel job, enrolled in a program that could get him out a year early, and he's already been caught breaking rules. That's the reality of where things stand right now. And this is where 50 Cent comes in. Because everything I just told you, all these details about Diddy's prison life, the special treatment, the rule breaking, the system gaming, that's all content. That's all material for Season 2 of The Reckoning. Now, Season 2 is not officially confirmed yet. Netflix hasn't made an announcement, but 50 Cent has been pushing hard. And with Season 1's massive success, outperforming even Stranger Things, Netflix would be crazy not to greenlight it. And now with these CBS News revelations, 50's got even more ammunition. Because this isn't just about what Diddy did before prison, this is about what he's doing right now, in real time, behind bars. Imagine the documentary footage, Diddy in his prison khakis, interviews with corrections officers about his behavior, experts breaking down prison culture and how someone like Diddy navigates it, analysis of the chapel job and what it really means, deep dives into the phone call violation and what he might have been planning with that cash. And then you layer in everything from Season 1, the abuse allegations, the Kim Porter mystery, the 140 hours of unseen footage, the Tupac connections. All of that combined with his current prison reality creates a narrative that's absolutely compelling. 50 Cent has been teasing that if he gets Season 2, he wants to go deeper into Kim Porter's story. He wants to explore the relationship between Diddy and Kidada Jones, Tupac's ex-fiancée. He wants to show the full scope of Diddy's network and who might have been complicit. And now he can add another chapter, the prison years, showing how even behind bars, even supposedly humbled, Diddy is still trying to control the narrative, still trying to work angles, still believing the rules don't fully apply to him. That's powerful storytelling. That's the kind of content that keeps audiences hooked, because it's not just about the past, it's about ongoing behavior patterns that never change. So let's talk about what's actually next, because the prison documents are just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Diddy's currently serving 4 years, but with the RDAP program, that could become 3. Add in good behavior credits and other potential reductions, and he might be looking at even less time. Some legal experts think he could be out in 2.5 to 3 years if everything goes his way. But that's assuming no new charges come. That's assuming the civil lawsuits don't uncover new criminal activity. That's assuming the alleged 140 hours of footage that 50 Cent keeps mentioning doesn't contain evidence of additional crimes. Because here's what a lot of people don't realize. Diddy's legal troubles aren't over. He's facing multiple civil lawsuits from former partners, employees, and alleged victims. Each one of those cases could uncover new information. Each one could lead to new criminal investigations. And if 50 Cent really does have access to 140 hours of Diddy's self-recorded footage, and if that footage shows what people are claiming it shows, witness tampering, obstruction of justice, discussions of illegal activity, then Diddy's prison stay could get a lot longer. That's why 50's pushing so hard for Season 2, because the story isn't finished. The fall isn't complete. There are still secrets to expose, still people who haven't been held accountable, still questions that need answers. Kim Porter's death remains a mystery that her loved ones deserve answers about. The allegations about Diddy's involvement in Tupac's murder have never been fully investigated by law enforcement in a public way. The network of people who allegedly enabled his behavior for decades hasn't been exposed. Season 2 could do all of that. It could take everything we learned in Season 1 and push it further. It could show not just what happened, but why it was allowed to happen for so long. Who looked the other way? Who protected him? Who profited from staying silent? And with Diddy now in prison, with his power stripped away, with people less afraid to speak out, the timing for Season 2 couldn't be better. 50 knows this. Netflix knows this. And that's why, even though it's not officially confirmed, everyone's acting like it's inevitable. The success of Season 1 proved there's an appetite for this story. The CBS News revelations prove there's still content to explore. And 50 Cent's relentless campaign proves there's someone willing to tell it. Look, I know some people think this is just entertainment, just drama, just 50 Cent and Diddy's decades-long beef playing out on a bigger stage. But it's more than that. What The Reckoning did, and what Season 2 could continue to do, is hold up a mirror to an entire industry. An industry that protected powerful men for decades. An industry that prioritized profit over people. An industry that silenced victims and rewarded abuse. How many artists got exploited under Bad Boy Records? How many young women got hurt at those parties? How many people saw something, knew something, and said nothing because speaking up would cost them their career? The answer is way more than we'll probably ever know. But every story that comes out, every document that gets leaked, every person who finds the courage to speak, that brings us closer to the truth. And the truth matters, not just for the people directly affected, but for the culture as a whole. Because if someone like Diddy can operate unchecked for decades, if he can build an empire on exploitation and control, if he can hurt people and face no consequences until he's in his 50s, then the system is broken. Season 2 has the potential to show how that system worked, who benefited from it, who enabled it, and most importantly, how to prevent it from happening again. That's bigger than hip-hop. That's about accountability in every industry where power can be a entertainment, politics, business, sports. The lessons are universal. And that's why people are so invested in this story. It's not just about watching a celebrity fall. It's about watching a reckoning happen in real time. It's about seeing someone who thought they were untouchable finally face consequences. Even if those consequences are imperfect, even if he's gaming the prison system, even if he gets out early, the fact that he's there at all, the fact that his empire crumbled, the fact that people are finally talking openly about what happened, that matters. So here's where we are. Diddy's in Fort Dix federal prison, working in the chapel, enrolled in drug treatment, already caught breaking rules, and already working angles to reduce his sentence. Season 2 of The Reckoning isn't officially confirmed, but 50 Cent is pushing hard, and the content keeps piling up. CBS News is dropping exclusive documents. The internet is demanding answers, and the story refuses to die. What happens next? That depends on a lot of factors. Will Netflix greenlight Season 2? Will 50 Cent get the creative control he wants? Will the alleged 140 hours of footage ever see the light of day? Will Kim Porter's story finally get the investigation it deserves? We don't have answers to those questions yet, but we're watching, we're waiting, and we're ready for whatever comes next. Because if there's one thing we've learned from this entire saga, it's that the truth always comes out eventually. It might take years, it might take decades, but it comes out. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Should Netflix greenlight Season 2? Do you believe Diddy's getting special treatment in prison? And what do you think he was planning to do with those 200 singles? Hit that like button if you want more coverage of this story. Subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Turn on notifications because this story is far from over. Anyway, this concludes today's video. Be sure to subscribe to LoafTube for future celebrity videos, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Until then, see you in the next one.